Welcome, gentlemen, to the Week 12 awards and the Week 13 preview. We missed last week due to, the holiday season and everything. So I hope you guys all had a healthy and happy holiday. This week we have some awards to give out. Um, some joint awards to myself and Dupe, and then definitely a joint award to Jake and Drost. But let's get it started. So I know a couple weeks ago we talked about how poor Mike's team was, now they were just absolutely decimated, and his only good player was Derrick Henry, who went down with injury. So and Mike won by 41 this week, but he was also playing the second worst team in the league myself. So I'm gonna give Mike the "Don't Get Too Excited" award because even though you got to win this week, buddy, I still don't think you're making the playoffs. And even if you do, you're out first round. Um, I'm gonna give the Camper award to Zachary Jones, just due to the fact that his team's on fire. He drafted one of the best teams in the league. He won this week against Dan, and Zach is so quiet in the group chat, and he's just sitting there like those old Modern Warfare games, sitting in the weeds, just waiting to come up and kill. And Zach's team is the Camper Award because I think he's just stalking out his prey, getting ready for his playoff push, and finally stamping his name as the league champion, which with only 3 weeks left in the regular season, it looks like that Zach could very well be our league champion this year. For Nicholas, I have the Rent is Due award. Dross has won 5 straight. He's hasn't lost in a month and a half. And even with CMC being the most injury riddled running back in the league, um, it's crazy to go on the stretch that he's been going on, and he is 9-3, sole stake of the first place in our league. So I'm going to give him the Rent is Due award because it's time for all of us to pay up and actually applaud Dross for what he's doing with a very injury riddled team. I will say my next award goes to the person with the most injuries of the league, and that goes to Jacob Gerard because his award is the Boston Sand and Gravel Award. We made the joke in the group chat about his team being gritty, and I think that's the only word in the English language that Jake knows is grit because he loves to use it. Either that or he's a huge fan of Part of My Take. So I'm going to give Jake the Boston Sand and Gravel Award because even though he's fun to clown, he's fun to rile up, fun to make his face as red as a tomato because he gets all anxious and embarrassed. His team is going on one hell of a run, putting together a great stretch, and I will say it's due to how gritty they are. John, congrats on your win against Ryan. Ryan's having the worst fantasy season of ever. Um, and, I'm going to give myself and Ryan the Cursed Crusaders Award because no matter what we do, I mean, I traded for Tyreek Hill and Stephon Diggs, and I think I've won one game since then. I'm 4-8. Ryan's 1-11. He won week 1 against Dan, which congrats. It is against Dan, and has lost 11 straight, and it's just pitiful. And I thought this week would be different because it was the first week of the season. Ryan and I haven't watched the games together because he was sick. And I mean, looking at his lineup, I would be too. But when he was up by like I think 40, and I texted, don't want to speak too soon, but I think Ryan getting himself a win. Well, I spoke too soon. Ryan didn't get a win. And not only am I cursing him, I'm also cursing myself because, like I said, my team's pitiful at 4-8. So it is what it is. This season's in the bag. We're already looking ahead to next year. Let's look to the previews though for next week. First game we have Borelli versus myself. Borelli's favored by 11. I'm pretty sure this was before the waiver wire acquisitions I made today. So I'm gonna favor myself and say that I win by 5 this week. I mean, without DeAndre Swift and Darren Waller, Borelli's looking a little desolate. But yeah. Speaking of Dupe, this is the Poop Bowl game. Dupe versus Mike. Dupe's favored by 14. I don't know why. Mike's team's very bad too, but I mean Dupe's is on a whole nother level. It's like G League and Mike's the JV team, I would say. Dupe's favored by 14. I think Mike's wins this game by 5. We have Drost versus Jones. Classic game. It's going to be funny in the group chat come Sunday when Drost is just typing to air when Jones isn't replying. And Drost will just tucker himself out. Drost is favored by 14. I think this is where his streak ends. And I think Jones wins by 12. John versus Dan. John's favored by 17. I'll give him a win by 25. There's that. I mean, it's against Dan. And then we have Frankie versus Jake. The two boneheads of the group chat. Well, one bonehead versus Frank, even though Frankie's a little bit of a bonehead too, the way that he sends horrible trades. Frankie's favored by 2. I think this is going to be a very interesting matchup. Jake, do you play Kadarius Toney with Mike Glennon throwing him the ball, or do you just try to make some crazy waiver wire trade, or just hope that your team grits it out? We'll see what happens. I have Frankie winning this one by 5, giving Jake his bulletin board material of the week so that when he texts, he can say, Jared, I have your receipts if he wins. Either or, this is going to be a fun matchup. The two, Jake chirps a lot and Frankie gives it back to him the most. So I am very much looking forward to this matchup. That is the preview in the awards.